today kids went around the world.
Je vous présente!
We have a library that kids want to come to again. It's really just the tipping point for us.
It charges up the whole school. It gives everyone a new insight into literature and writing.
And make accessible programs and books and literacy activities to kids that ordinarily have them.
We're such a small staff, and such a small organization. The amount of good that they do is remarkable.
The Children's Literacy Foundation was created to support the thousands of children in New Hampshire and Vermont who are growing up with low literacy skills. In a library basement in 1998, founder Duncan McDougall and 18 others planned an innovative nonprofit that would nurture a love of reading and writing among children in rural communities, as well as children who are at high risk of growing up with low literacy skills. CliF has grown exponentially. It offers more than a dozen free programs to almost 12,000 children each year. The first program CliF started serves rural public libraries. For children in small towns, the local public library is often their main source of books, but many of these libraries have tiny book budgets. CliF provides rural libraries with $2,000 in new children's books and holds special storytelling presentations for all the students in the town's elementary school.
Storytelling is a very good way to introduce children to books and to the joy of reading.
We had the opportunity to have CliF come to our school, and Duncan is an awesome presenter. I was just thrilled for the opportunity for our kids to have that enriching experience.
It talks about how you find them and what they eat and how they live and what all the other animals are that they interact with. And I learned so much.
Come to one of the presentations because it is one of the most powerful things you will see. To see the impact that books have on these kids.
Sometimes I get to travel even further. Do you guys know where I was 14 days ago? 14 days ago, I was in a place called Madagascar. You guys, hands up if you know where Madagascar is. I've always wanted to go to Madagascar. It's such a cool place. And when I picked up this book, I got to go to Madagascar.
As part of Pittsfield, Vermont's sponsorship, CliF gave storytelling presentations to more than 250 children, and after a celebration in the town hall, kids brought the new books to the Roger Clark Memorial Library.
Our annual budget is $350, which means we have just enough money to keep the library running. Now we've got 100 new books and 100 reasons for these kids to come in the library again. All of a sudden there's activity that just hasn't been happening in the middle of this town. So the library becomes more than just a library, it becomes the community center.
Can I have a library?
CliF has already sponsored more than 2/3 of all rural public libraries in Vermont and New Hampshire. Many libraries have been sponsored twice. Whenever CliF discovers an unmet need, it takes action. Many rural students have never met a professional writer, so CliF partners with more than 50 local children's book authors and illustrators and sends them to rural elementary schools to help bring books alive for children.
For rural schools, we don't have a lot of money to spend on this type of thing. They made it happen for us this year.
Natalie Kinsey Warnock is one of CliF's inspiring presenters. She's a 7th-generation Vermonter and the award-winning author of more than 25 children's books.
You're going to see he's holding something pretty funny on his lap. This picture, do you think there might be a story that goes along with it? I look at that picture and I go, why was my grandpa holding a pig on his lap? I always felt lucky I got to grow up on a farm in Vermont because it's what I love and what I write stories about.
They can relate to me. I've had so many kids after I came, even reluctant readers or writers, they'll go, well, I could write a book just like Natalie.
It helped them think about what it is to be a writer and how a real writer, a published writer, writes. Putting a face on those books is just incredible for them. But they'll talk about it for weeks. It's a real high point of the school year.
For an hour and a half, the kids in our school were captivated. And for kids from preschool to 6th grade, not moving, asking questions, smiling, laughing, it was incredible. It was a great experience.
She's involved in every book, and her family's involved in every book.
This girl lived in my family 200 years ago.
I just find that so interesting and so cool.
More than 10,000 rural children have attended these special CliF events. Roughly half of all elementary school children in the Twin States score below state standards in writing skills. To help address this situation, CliF arranges for professional poets and authors to spend 3 days working hands-on with these students. Ted Shy, a published poet and former teacher, is one of CliF's dynamic writers-in-residence.
Do we put any old words in a poem? No. No. Because a poem is so short, every single word has to be the most delicious, most beautiful word you can find. They are really great at expressing your voice in the world. They help you as a writer find a way to share how you're feeling about stuff. It's been about 5 years since I've been doing this, and every year it's a great joy. I totally buy into CliF's basic mission, and that is nurturing a love of reading and writing. I'm going to ask you to pick a topic, a feeling you're having. Okay? We're going to do just nouns and verbs all the way down. That's one of my goals, is to make sure that every child can walk out of a workshop with a piece of writing that they're proud of, be it a rough draft or not. Kids will share things that teachers in some cases have never heard coming out of the mouth of that child before.
Sprinting. Heart pounding, legs zooming. Mud splashing, fields flying. Crowd crazy, buzzering. Bees roaring, knights triumphing. Me reading, book gripping. Me fighting, I'm grounded.
They always astound me, and there's times when I'm moved to tears.
I'm crying. Help, should have stayed home today.
That's great. All those feelings of embarrassment are coming out just in verbs and nouns. Fantastic. Very impressed. I'm very impressed for a Monday morning. So don't lose these, and I'll see you guys tomorrow at about the same time.
Almost 10,000 children in more than 100 elementary schools have collaborated with CliF Writers-in-Residence. CliF serves those children who have the greatest needs, wherever they may be. Since 1980, more than 10,000 refugees have moved to New Hampshire and Vermont. These children and their families face many challenges, including learning to read and write English. CliF supports refugee families by providing storytelling events, giving them new books to keep, and donating multilingual and multicultural books to libraries, cultural centers, and classrooms.
Do you think that fox wanted to share those fish? No, he did not. He had the lake stuck to his tail. When we're all done, each one of you will be able to come up and choose 3 brand new books to keep. Is that good?
Yeah. We had about 27 ELL children from our school from all over the world. When you can give away books to those that have very little or no books at all, it's just wonderful.
Another at-risk group CliF serves is children of prison inmates. CliF sets up libraries and prison family visiting rooms, provides storytelling for inmates and their children, and holds literacy seminars for inmates. Since it's critically important for parents and children to read together, CliF also supports prison storybook programs in which an inmate records a book on tape and then sends both the book and tape home to their children.
They're bringing programs to kids in rural places and in prisons and other kinds of places. Doesn't that make great sense, you know, to go into prisons and have the kids with their parents reading together?
Since 1998, CliF has developed more than a dozen innovative literacy programs to serve many groups of children who might not otherwise have access to inspiring literacy presentations and high-quality new books.
For someone to come in and share opportunities, their voice and stories broadens their horizons, broadens their perspectives on life, and it just gives them so many wonderful experiences to grow with.
Since its founding, CliF has served more than 75,000 children in more than 300 communities across New Hampshire and Vermont. From its humble beginnings in a library basement, the CliF family now numbers almost 100 people, including presenters, directors, advisors, volunteers, and staff.
CliF offers so many different programs and so many different ways to intersect with a community that the enthusiasm just makes you start brainstorming, okay, what can be the next project that we can support? And even for a company like Cabot Creamery, where maybe children's literacy wasn't the top of our list, now it's on the radar.
Unlike most nonprofits, CliF does not receive a dime of state or federal funds. Its programs are made possible thanks to donations from hundreds of individuals and dozens of companies, foundations, and social organizations. CliF has earned a reputation as a lean, efficient organization, and donors are able to see the tangible impact of their gifts.
a gift like this is something that we would have a very difficult time affording on our own, so we're just really appreciate it. It gives us a huge boost.
The Children's Literacy Foundation will be around for decades to come, but it has already made a difference in the lives of tens of thousands of children.
I like to pick books and read at home, to be like good reader and write some books.
It is the most wonderful organization I've ever been involved with.
You give a child a book and they own that book. It's so much more than just a book. It's a future, it's a hope, it's a dream, it's magic.
Education begins with a book, and that's very, very important to remember. Kids want to read, they want to learn. Give them the opportunity.
We hope you will join the CliF family of supporters who help inspire young readers and writers.